what has been irreparably damaged here is the regime. The regime shown to be not just a paper tiger, probably like a tissue tiger. And the big issue here is which Iran, let me rephrase it, which Iran comes to the negotiating table.
The fighting in Iran hasn't ended with the American attack. Israel has continued to hit targets there overnight. The bombardment has been going on for 10 days now. Iran has also continued to fire back. Israel says it's brought down a drone near the tourist resort city Eilat. We're joined by Michael Oren, the former Israeli ambassador to the US, who's on the line now. Good morning.
Good morning. Eilat.
Eilat. There we go. You know what? I saw it coming. I saw it coming, Michael, and I knew what was about to happen. I'm glad you helped me correct it. Eilat. Thank you. I've just done it again. Okay.
All right.
Israel, the question here is whether or not it was always in the playbook, whether this was always the intention, was to ensure that America would come on board and help with this final stage, or what Donald Trump is calling the final stage. Is that accurate here?
I don't know. What I do know is it was certainly the hope, and it was. I would put a finer point out and say it was ardently the hope.
We're just going to give your line a moment to get itself sorted so we can hear your response, because I think it's really important that we do understand there are lots of people who were suggesting that America was hesitant in the beginning. If you remember, Donald Trump urged Israel not to do what it did with Iran, urged a pause. Michael, I think we can hear you a little bit more clearly now. Do you think that Israel always wanted America to... It is better. Do you think Israel always wanted America to come in alongside?
And I was saying before, it wasn't expectation, I think, as much as it was an ardent hope. And that hope wasn't new. It goes back to 2007 during the Bush presidency, when Israel had gone to the Bush presidency and asked the United States to intervene militarily against Syria's nuclear reactor. And President Bush said no. During the Obama years, repeatedly, Israel asked the United States to keep all military options on the table against Iran. And the Obama administration put the option on the table, but actually nobody believed that that the president would ever use it. President Biden wouldn't even put an option on the table, though the request again was made repeatedly. This is the time when Israel made the request, and the president, for the first time, said yes. Having said that, there was certainly very close coordination between the Israeli and American militaries, between the White House and the Israeli government. But I think until the last minute, I don't think anyone was entirely certain that President Trump would make that decision to act. And I think that's true not just of the Israeli government. I think it's true of many elements in the American government.
So what is it, do you think, that made Donald Trump take that decision at the moment that he did?
Well, we can speculate and also base ourselves on some of the remarks that he made, that he had committed to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, and he believed that Iran was on the verge of creating a nuclear weapon, of weaponizing. He remembered the long list of Iranian attacks against Americans, beginning with the Marine barracks in Beirut in 1983, 241 Marines killed, the American embassy in Beirut blown up shortly right after that, the list of Americans who were kidnapped and murdered by Hezbollah, a branch of Iran. In Lebanon, the multiple attacks by Iranian proxies against American bases in the Middle East that wounded hundreds of American service people, killed several, a very, very long list, and an Iranian attempt to assassinate him. We should not forget that. I don't think Donald Trump ever forgot that. So all these contributed, and I think at the end of the day, there's some ego involved. He wants to win a Nobel Prize, the president. I think he actually stands a chance of winning one. And he could actually win several, not just by making peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia. We could get peace between Israel and Lebanon, peace between Israel and Syria. Who knows, maybe even peace with Israel and Iran.
Is that realistic, though, Michael? Because what Donald Trump is saying here is that the US has ended the Iranian nuclear program, but there is a big question left about the enriched uranium, and there's some doubt about whether or not that, all of these facilities have been completely destroyed. Is it realistic to think that America can drop these bombs, walk away, and be finished with this situation, do you think?
There are actually many questions, Kay, not just that one. That is actually certainly a pertinent question, because as long as Iran has enriched uranium, and as of last report, it had 408 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% and 276 kilograms enriched to 20%, which is a quite significant sum. It's about enough to make about 15 nuclear weapons. As long as Iran possesses that and possesses international delivery systems, as long as it possesses what we believe is a warhead, it just puts the three components together and it is the nuclear power. That is true. I think what has been irreparably damaged here is the regime. The regime shown to be not just a paper tiger, probably like a tissue tiger. And the big issue here is which Iran, let me rephrase it, which Iran comes to the negotiating table. It's clear that this war is going to end at the negotiating table. And what's going to be America's position at the negotiating table, and what is Iran willing to give up at that negotiating table? The United States is going to go back and demand that Iran dismantle its nuclear program, which means shipping out that stockpile of enriched uranium. And many of these facilities, as we know, have been at least partially disabled and dismantled already. But I think beyond that, the big question, certainly for me, and I think not just for me, is will Iran cease being the world's largest state sponsor of terror? Will Iran
and
stop?
Does that mean regime change, in your view?
Well, it may not be physical regime change, but it means a change of the DNA of the regime. Now, I don't know if this is possible, because I think this is the raison d'etre of this regime. It is a jihadist regime. It's about recreating a medieval caliphate in the Middle East and then expanding the borders of that caliphate to encompass the world. This is their theology. It's very similar theology to Hamas, to Hezbollah, to ISIS, the Muslim Brotherhood, though those are Sunni groups, and Islamic Republic of Iran is Shiite. It's the same theology. And getting them to change that is going to be very, very difficult. That change cannot come about through military action, neither by Israel nor by Iran. It has to come through the Iranian people.
Michael, Oren.
And maybe the Iranian people, having seen how this government has spent countless billions of dollars supporting terrorist groups that have brought just massive suffering to people and have now been destroyed, and billions of dollars on this nuclear program, which Iran, as one of the world's largest exporters of oil, does not need. Nuclear energy costs 40 times as much as oil. Maybe they'll say, okay, enough is enough.
Michael Oren, the former Israeli ambassador to the US, thank you for joining us on the programme.
Good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting question there. Could Donald Trump get a Nobel Peace Prize? And could the Iranian people really rise up on the back of US and Israeli military intervention? That's always been an interesting psychological question. They may want regime change. Do they want it on the back of action taken by people who they're told are consistently their enemies?
And change to what?
Exactly.
Change. It's not just. That's not the end. That's very much the beginning.
And Trump believes you can do something and end it. The question is, history seems to suggest taking major interventionist action never ends with that sole action. We'll see what happens as we go along.